Clutter and Couples. This came about from 20 years of working with clients in my professional organizing business. So this came about because I was witnessing a bunch of conflict and frustration and tension with couples who dealt with their home and their stuff differently. It typically is proving that there is a discrepancy in how people deal with clutter. Some people have a low clutter threshold and some people have a high one. And if you have a low one, you are going to be affected, bothered. Yes, there we go, bothered by it. So that discrepancy usually creates a little bit of friction. I watched it long enough to recognize, ooh, let's write a book about that, because I would love to help people understand how to communicate without frustration and without anger wrapped around it, because that's a lot of what I was seeing. So this is not your typical clutter book. It has more to do with relationships than it does before and after shiny pictures. It will teach you how to generate momentum and how to get rid of clutter. And it will also teach you how to be able to create a very safe space with your partner on how to speak about that. And it goes into a lot of detail around our relationship dynamics and how we actually get a little tripped up with how we communicate with one another. It goes into some very not wildly spoken about. I mean, it's spoken about in some circles, but I'm trying to bring it into light around clutter and how our nervous system is activated, because clutter actually impacts so much of our physical body as well as our mind, but we might not even be aware of it. And that's a problem, because we might know that, oh, I'm feeling stressed, or I'm feeling overwhelmed, or maybe I'm even feeling depressed. And we might not even be tying those two together. I'm like, oh, maybe my schedule's too much. All the other reasons that you might think that you are feeling anxious or tense or anything, that might really be not what's creating it. It could be the clutter. It could be the things that are overwhelming you that you just sort of get used to because they pile up. And you're like, I'll get to it. Well, that not getting to it can create a real sense of overwhelm and where to start. With understanding why we have difficulty with fear of conflict is a very large piece of this book. I was not taught how to communicate without frustration or anger or snarkiness. I'm much more of a snarky girl, to be honest. Not really anger, I'm snarky. And I learned it because my mom was very, very afraid of communication. She would always say, oh yeah, I hate conflict. And I would say, but Mom, it could just be communication. It doesn't have to be conflict. And I thought that was true for myself, and I thought I was a good communicator. And it's come to light that I have some little bit of sideways ways to deal with things. It's come out recently to my awareness that some of those things I didn't know how to really address. And I was in a marriage for 17 years, and I thought I was a really good communicator, and I wasn't bringing up some of the things that I should have and could have. And I didn't understand why, and now I do. And so I'm teaching that. I'm teaching that our nervous systems are involved with fear of someone maybe rejecting or being angry at us. And so if that pile is driving you batshit crazy and you are not really wanting to, quote unquote, rock the boat or upset the peace that's going on, because you're afraid that it's really going to trigger an argument or a fight or even just a disconnect between you two, you might just start stuffing that. You might not bring it up, or it might come out sideways, like I said, with snark, with frustration, and maybe even a blowout, just like real big yelling. This book talks a lot about that, about nervous system activation. It also goes into attachment, what attachment styles are and how that might be impacting as well some of your deep fears around bringing something to the table to talk about. And I won't go too deep into that, but It's a really good chapter. And if you have never heard about attachment styles, please read it, because it really creates some beautiful breadcrumbs to understanding yourself so much more. And that's a really good point to this whole book. This is essentially a workbook for your own self-awareness around, yes, clutter, but also how you argue, how you maybe squash things down, how you might not have boundaries. The whole goal is that you are bringing forth your needs to the table with love. I don't think that we're really taught how to do that. And so what I'm trying inside of this book is to teach this technique that has made a world of difference for me. I learned it through a wonderful company called Accelerated Evolution. And it's very simple, and it helps to create a safe and trusted container with your partner on how to talk about things that may be challenging you, but it doesn't necessarily have to be in maybe an old patterned way. It's a new way. And I suggest doing it once a month. It's all in the book. It's very illuminating as you do it more and more times, how it builds the trust, how it builds a sense of safety because you're doing it every month. So I learned this technique when I was studying to be a certified erotic blueprint coach. And it has been with Annie and I since we started our relationship. And the only reason I want to do a small little demo is because I'm pretty passionate about this, because it's changed the way that I feel in relationship. It makes me not hide anything anymore. So we started doing it when we first started seeing one another, and we just finished our 41st, right? Yeah. We've done 41 of them together. And we schedule them out. We know it's scheduled. It's in the calendar. It's going to be a wonderful opportunity for us to connect. And we also know it's going to be a wonderful opportunity to share anything that might be percolating. All right. So this is what we call the dyad, and it's called something a little bit bigger than that, but you'll see it in the book, promise. Okay. There is a portion of this exercise that we do, but we're not going to do it here, but it's in the book, and it's a really crucial piece. It's a wonderful opportunity to see your partner as an individual. And I think when we get into relationships, it's really difficult to see that separation anymore. At least that's been in my experience in relationship before Annie, where there's some level of enmeshment. There's a blending of the two people that lacks a differentiation. And so all different things happen inside of that. Every single time we do it, it's different for me. Sometimes my head will be a little wandery because we're setting the timer for 5 minutes when we do this. And it's a 5-minute meditation on each of us. So as I'm looking at this person in front of me, I'm seeing her as someone who is not necessarily connected to me. I'm seeing her for just who she is, with her choices and how she moves in her life and what her, I don't know, just who she is separate from me. It's a wonderful place to start. Then, once we're done the contact, then we slide into the dyad. And the dyad consists of 3 questions, and I'm going to just let you watch.
Tell me something you love about me.
I love that you're growing your hair out and just being different than you were when I first met you.
Thank you.
Tell me something you love about me.
I love your fierce determination. Look what you did.
Thank you.
Tell me something you think we agree on.
To live with bravery.
Thank you.
Tell me something that you think we agree upon.
We agree on not living together. Tell me something you want me to know.
When you made the reference of that you were just going to crash at my house tonight, I felt, oof, that didn't feel so special. It felt like it was more out of convenience than you wanting to spend time together. Tell me something you want me to know about you.
Thanks for sharing that anyways. it wasn't that awesome to hear in the moment, but I got over that and like back to a place of just appreciating that it's safe to tell me things like that.
And you can go back and forth on that last one as many times as you want to. So it turns into something very different than what you would expect it to. And all I can say is try it. Please try it, everybody. With people who are close to you. It doesn't have to be a romantic partner. It can be with friends. It can be with your parents. And there's a lot of rules and guidelines in the book that will help you do it really safely and with a lot of intention. That's one of the communication tools that I list in the book. And there's a few others. It's really trying to relearn how to communicate with a fierce honesty that allows you to truly be seen and loved. And that's for clutter, but that's for everything. That's a lot of what this book is. It's clutter-based, but it's really about self-awareness and having really clear understanding about how you want to live your life in your home, with your partner, with your kids. And there's a lot of questions throughout this book. After each section, I have at least 3 questions that will hopefully get you to a place of a deeper self-awareness about what clutter is, how it's affecting you, and how you can shift it. After the end of each chapter, I have action items and chapter takeaways. So it's really going to take you into a state of momentum in a lot of different areas with clutter, with your relationship, with understanding more of who you are as a person. I'm getting chills because I've had the opportunity of being in people's lives and watching their kids grow up, and it is, I have chills everywhere. It's been a gift. Like, this work has been an amazing gift in my life. My clients, my friends, my clients who turn into my friends, their kids, and watching everything, and then just watching everyone's evolution as we get older. It's so cool and so wonderful. This has been great. Thank you again, you guys, for showing up. Thank you so much.